Hi guys, welcome to another episode of just talking about relocating to the UK. And my name is Irene.
My name is Rose.
And in our YouTube channel, we talk about everything relocating to the UK, salvation, we are born again Christians, motherhood. So if that's the kind of content that you are interested in, please subscribe, like, share. And in this particular episode, we'll be talking about relocating with or without a child. And it's because I relocated with my child.
And I left my son back home.
Yeah, so a very interesting conversation to have, both of us having made different choices and talking about real life experiences of how it has been. So just to move on quickly, let's talk about why. Rose, why did you leave your son?
So, I thought that when I come with my son, there's a lot that comes with relocating. And me moving to a different country, a different continent all over, there are different practices I need to settle in, and it takes time. It needs financial and emotional input. So for me, I decided that let me just leave my son home. I come to the UK, settle in, get used to all the things that happen, like their routines, my new job. I had a new job when I came here, so it needed adjusting. That's why I decided to leave my son.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think just to agree, you can always make your decision in the way that you choose based on your own circumstances. So for me, I decided we are leaving no man behind. And the reason why I decided to relocate with both my child and my partner is because first, the contract allowed us to. So it was something that I had already disclosed from the beginning. And then secondly is we had already laid out a plan on how we would have the child with us in a foreign country. And then that being that we were two people, it was easier to handle. We had already known you're going to do this and I'm going to do the other thing. So I felt like the child, my son in this case, had a safety net of care, whether it was for me or from my partner. I think, yeah, that's it. And then maybe, I don't know if she's okay for me to mention, but she had training, yeah?
Yeah.
As soon as she got here, we've mentioned in another video, please see the link to our other video of relocating as a nurse. In that link, then you understand the process. So she had exams and that also plays a part. So for me, when the other link is on relocating as an accountant, as an auditor. So for me, I got straight into work. For her, she had to go through training for some time, exams. So I think that explains the reason.
Yeah, exactly. Irene said it all. Yeah, it would have been overwhelming for me if I decided to bring my son over. So that's why I decided to just take a step at a time, a day at a time.
Okay. And then the other thing is, let's talk about daycare. So I think one of the things, did daycare play a role for you?
Yeah, it did. When I did my research, I was like, when you come to the UK, you need a childminder. You never leave a child under 13 years in the house alone. So I'm new to this foreign country. I know no one. And then I'm here with my 2-year-old son. He was 2 back then when I relocated. And so who am I leaving him with? What are the charges that are involved in minding your child? So that really played a major role. I didn't want to get frustrated. I didn't want to be overwhelmed. Already the trainings that I was doing, the nursing training, was overwhelming.
Yeah, so I think that's also a very, very valid reason why you would want to leave your child. Then for me, I also knew about the cost of daycare and the cost of childminders, and I understood the different rates. So what we had already decided, we made an arrangement with my partner around how we're going to take care of our child. So that was really not a major factor for us. We understood the cost, but it didn't directly affect us. Yeah. So daycare in the UK is quite expensive, and then childcare is like top tier. You really have to take care of your child, which is a good thing. So, and then you don't have family around, so maybe back home in Kenya you have your cousins, you have your sisters, you have family, you have people that you can just take them to your child to them and they'll take care of them. But now here you're sort of alone, and now if you have a child it can be something else. But if you have maybe a partner, or you have like someone who you can make an arrangement with, a friend, but it has to be a really trusted friend.
Yeah.
Because you're not always sure if someone, maybe they can take care of themselves, but can they take care of a child? That's the other thing.
Yeah.
So the other aspect is the emotional aspect. How was it for you? Maybe the first days, did you cry?
Oh, yeah. So just before we move on to the emotional aspect, I'll just add to on the childcare. Remember, when you're coming to the UK with your child, you also need a different type of accommodation.
Yeah.
You need bigger houses, like depending with the age of your children. If you have children who have different genders, a boy and a girl, you need an extra room for each of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was coming, I went to a shared accommodation.
Mm-hmm.
If you know what that means it's like a bed sitter, I would say. So you never live with a child in a bed sitter.
Yeah.
So you now understand why I couldn't afford at the moment. Yeah. She asked about the emotional aspect. So it was not easy. As I said, when I relocated, my son was only 2. He was really tiny. But one thing that gave me like a reassurance is that I left my son with my mom, who really took good care of him, and I really appreciate and I'm grateful for that. But it's not even easy. Again, I have been staying with that kid for 2 years, and then it gets to a time where you have to leave him, and all you have to do is FaceTime him. And remember, 2 years, he's not like developed speech, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So there is no conversation that you're holding. It's just that you need to see him, and at times he's so playful. He even doesn't want to stay on the camera. So it was not easy. At times I felt like I was betraying him, if you know what I mean. And I was like, did I make the right decision? At times you doubt your decision, especially when you go to the trainings and they are really hard and you're not sure whether you'll pass the exam. And you're like, if I'm here and then fail my exams again, it will not be worth leaving him behind. Yeah.
So I mean, the emotional aspect is something that I think someone once told me, just to having a conversation with a friend, just to maybe add on to your point, and the friend was like, I prepared for my son, like for her to leave his son at home. To leave the son at home, but had never prepared for herself. So like she knew the child will be okay back at home, but had not prepared psychologically for herself.
Yeah.
So like when she got here, she got so emotional, and she had not really had like well preparation on how she like take in everything after moving. So I think one of the things is sometimes you leave the child in safe custody and everything, but you also need to keep reassuring yourself that, you know what, I'll be okay, and maybe talk to people, because it overwhelms people in different ways. So, and I think also for me, emotionally there was really not much, because we moved together. Maybe just leaving the child now at home, and now you're going to work after some time, because it was like it's always the same thing over and over again. But really nothing much in terms of like the emotional bit. What I maybe just want to also add on is the stress in a foreign country it just triples. It triples, like the small things, like an exam, when you're told like now you need to do an exam, now you need to do a test, now you're on probation, now you're what, it triples that stress, because you don't have a safety net, you don't have your parents, you don't have anyone to support you, it's just you. So maybe initially you're at home and you're having exams and everything, you have distractors here and there, you have your friends and family coming over. So but now when you're alone in a foreign country, the stress is just like so how do you balance ensuring that you have time with your child, maybe have conversations? How's that for you?
One thing that I've learned over time being away from my son is that the decision I made was not for me. It was not a selfish decision. I came here to make our lives better. And it's not that I don't have plans to bring him. I have plans to bring him. And I did that because I needed him to, when he's coming, I needed to be comfortable and for him to settle in quite easily. I needed to be able to locate a place where he would go to school. I needed to know like what kind of culture or environment I would want him to be in. And so leaving that up aside, that is just the preparation bit. So there's the real life now. The son is not here, the son is at home, and you need to keep in touch. Yeah, so all I do is I ensure that every day I have to FaceTime him, whether he knows or he doesn't. He's really young anyway, at 3 years, but the more he sees you, like, they never forget. We always say that children have a memory, especially if they visual, if they see, they don't forget. So just him seeing me on camera, that gives me a reassurance that he definitely knows who I am, and probably in his little emotions he knows that I really care about him. Yeah.
And also just for you as well, you know, maybe he sees, he knows, he appreciates, but also on your part you feel like I have seen him and I have felt happy, which is quite a good thing. I think also for me, just balancing in between. The difference between UK and home is you don't have a house manager. You don't have a house manager, so it's just you doing everything. And the good thing is the washing machines, dishwashers, like so many tasks are just taken away from you by having the different machines doing things for you. But also being very intentional about family time, because sometimes you can just discover life has just moved on so fast. So working, especially as an auditor, sometimes the pressure is pressuring. So you may need to work extra hours, you may need to work overtime, just work. But being intentional and knowing that, you know what, I have a child, you know what, I have a partner, and I need to be there for these people. So having a very clear line. Sometimes it also calls for sacrifice here and there, because either you sacrifice your sleep or you sacrifice your social time. So it's not like the way you would have been single, alone, going like to every work event, going to every party or everything. No, you have to like stay home and be like, I'm a mother. So just being there for your child and being intentional, like I need to track his growth, and I'm making sure that I track his growth, just not to be carried away by everything.
And very true. When you listen to different people, some will like name you as a bad mother for leaving your son, and others will consider you as a hero. One thing I've learned over time is that I affirm myself that I'm the best mom that my son would have ever had. And it also gives you an opportunity now that you're alone, abroad, no child, so you have like your you time, like mommy time, and it helps you into developing yourself and knowing lots of things you didn't know, because back then when I was with my son, it's work and then come back home to my son and my family. I'm here, actually I didn't mention earlier, but I'm in the UK with my partner as well, and so we have now bonded more because we've had time together, if you know what I mean. And so it came in handy.
And I think you've mentioned something to do with people name calling people. You know, you're not a good mother, you know, you're a bad mother, you know, you're a what mother. Like, please, those unsolicited opinions, name calling people, you know, you made a very bad decision to leave a child. Those are very personal decisions. Whether you make a decision to move with the child or not move with the child, those are very personal decisions. And I think in such spaces, people should avoid making comments. If someone says, I'm moving with a child, that's just it for them. They're saying, I'm leaving my child, that's it for them. And then, especially being a mom, you feel like you need to have people keep reassuring you and affirming you. So you cannot be having people coming in and being like, you're not the best mom, I'm not your mom. Remember?
Very true.
Cost of living. So how's the cost of living for you? Maybe we start with you.
All right, so the cost of living depends with where in the UK particularly you live in. There are differences in the housing, the bills you need to pay when you're alone and when you're with a child. For me, I would say my cost of living is minus the child, so I don't have child expenditure, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I just have like my personal bills, the house bills, and the rent and all that. But it's more easier for me because I'm here with my partner, so yeah.
Do you have to like send money home?
Oh yeah, definitely. So like, not that my mom demands or really needs me to send my child's upkeep, but as a mother, you know, like you're responsible, and you know your child is needs a house help, needs clothing, needs feeding. So just a and accountability. Like you really need to look after them. Yeah, your parents are really taking their time to ensure that your child is fine. So you're also responsible for them as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then do you have like a constant rate, or you just like send this and that? And then, you know, maybe I'm just saying this from an African context, like the way sometimes parents will be like, give me more money something for the child. And then you're like, okay, but last time I gave you money for the child.
All right, I would say that I'm very lucky in this situation, though. They don't demand anything from me, as I said earlier. It's just free will. And there's something called black tax, sorry to say, but it's like people back home expect that you're now in abroad, you really need to send something to them. I also say that not many of my friends or my family expect me to send them. But for my mom, I don't send a constant rate. All I do is the house helps salary is constant, but the rest is variable depending with what I have at the moment. Yeah.
Okay. I think for cost of living with a child, quite expensive. And this is because first you have to include rent. So like your rent is more because you have to live in a 2-bedroom, and then you also have, you know, with children sometimes you need to incur costs here and there just to ensure maybe their meals are balanced. You're buying, I don't know, fruits here, fruits there. So that's the bit of it. And then milk. Boy, those children consume milk. I think when I got here, that was like my biggest shock. I was like, oh, milk is so expensive. I'm a child. And they need milk, and it's expensive. But I mean, it's not like that expensive, but you always feel the it will. I personally don't even like milk, so it will have been less cost of milk. But I think generally the cost is, if you're coming to the UK, prepare for that aspect of costs, especially with a child. Yeah, but I hope you have learned something from my experiences. Rose, do you have something to add?
Yeah, I'm going to ask you, Irene, now that you're here with your son, like when your child is when you're introducing them to groups, like different groups, either religious groups, how is it? Is it easy for you? Are you relaxed when you do that, or you're tensed?
I think to be honest, I've taken like the longest time to even introduce him to say a church or something, because I'm like, I really need to understand the kind of doctrine that it's in that that is in that particular church, or so taken us quite some time to just identify a church, identify friends. And you know, here especially where we live, we don't have like so many kids, so it's just him alone. But yeah, the thing with Christianity is God Emmanuel, God is with us. So we seek to have family fellowships at home, we seek to pray, we seek to now, maybe once you get a really good church, we'll settle in, and then I will introduce him, because I think I actually went to one church and I went there alone. I was like, I'm here to learn more about you. Before now I bring my whole squad, like, you guys come.
Oh yeah, mothers are always protective.
Very protective.
Yeah. Oh, that's fine. That's so good to hear. So that's it for today, guys. Bye. Don't forget to subscribe. The link below for the more videos, okay?
Bye.